From jaw-dropping CNC machined frames to radical integrated drivetrains, from maximalist freeride bikes to max velocity race bikes, and from salt-of-the-earth hardtails to pie-in-the-sky hyperbikes, there's a tsunami of wild machinery to look forward to in 2024. Want radical? Well, look no further than the Nicolai Nucleon 16. It gets the innovative super drivetrain with a rear mech tucked behind the dropout to keep it out of harm's way. And if that wasn't enough, it's also a high pivot idler design, which should give it 5-star plushness on rough alpine descents. Compared to a gearbox, the SuperDrive system claims to enjoy reduced friction, offer excellent shifting under load, and a wide 510% gear range from the 12-speed cassette. It's certainly madcap, as the chain tensioner is actually sprung and damped by its own shock hidden within the down tube, and the derailleur, in inverted commas, utilises just a single pulley wheel. Other features of note are the low standover height, 5 frame sizes, and MX wheel compatibility. In a market of increasingly homogeneous designs, the Nucleon 16 is a whirlwind of fresh air. There's no Sean Connery in this sequel, but the updated high pivot Highlander is an even mightier weapon to wield during big mountain insurgencies. Travel has been drawn out to 145mm, which is 5mm more than the old bike and 10mm more than we measured when we tested it. DV8 also claims it's lighter than the original thanks to a new carbon layout, without sacrificing any of that Celtic fortitude along the way. Updated sizing and geo includes a 2 degree steeper seat angle, 0.5 degree slacker head angle, and longer reach. And for shorter riders, there's now the option of a small frame. Like a grizzled old vet in the corner of a dingy bar, Rocky Mountain Slayer was there from the beginning, man. The beginning of freeride, obviously, when it was the bike that launched 1,000 hucks under the era-defining Fro Riders. This latest iteration is available with either a carbon or alloy frame, both of which are certified for bike park laps and freeride shenanigans. Rocky retains its Ride 4 geometry chip and adds a 2-position rear dropout design for ultimate flexibility. The bike is compatible with both MX wheels and full 29-inch setups, with smaller complete bikes getting the mixed wheel option and larger frames rocking the bigger hoops. A neat touch is that internal frame storage is now standard on the carbon frames. All bikes get coil shocks and 180mm of rear travel, but special park editions also come with 200mm dual crown forks for anyone aiming at that rampage wildcard spot. Divide and conquer. That's the strategy with the new Cannondale Habit, where long travel, short travel, alloy and carbon frames all come together under the same broad umbrella. But the best bit about this updated trail bike is that prices start at just £2,100 for the Habit 4 alloy, making it competitive even against direct sales brands. The Habit 3 demands an £850 premium, but shares the same Smartform C1 alloy frame with 130mm travel as the rest of the range. Want more oomph? Then the Habit LT uses the same frame but gets a burlier 150mm fork and longer stroke shock to boost rear travel to 140mm. Proportional response suspension and geometry aims to keep the ride experience the same whatever your height and weight, and Cannondale has tried to ensure the bikes are as user friendly as possible in the workshop by speccing standard headsets, threaded bottom brackets and UDH mech hangers. Built to pay homage to DH legend Stevie Smith, a portion of Devinci Chainsaw sales goes to the Canadian racer's Legacy Foundation. As you'd expect, it's a bike built for logging air miles, slicing through tree-lined DH runs and dropping the tallest of features, with a high pivot idler configuration and either 170 or 180mm of rear travel being the technical highlights. Run it as a full 29er, all with mixed wheels. Dual crown forks for DH or single crown for Enduro, coil for ultimate grip or air for easy tuning and weight saving. Copper load of the new Norco Fluid FS, now available with a carbon front triangle that's said to drop 600 grams over its alloy counterpart. Looks rather stunning, all chiselled and bronzed, doesn't it? Yes, the stays are still alloy and the travel hasn't been touched at 130mm rear and 140mm front, but the Fluid is already an accomplished trail bike, making this weight saving the icing on the cake. Other things we like about the Fluid are that the shock specs are kept high-end throughout the range, so you don't need to skimp on suspension performance at the lower price points. And Norco's ride-aligned program means that rear centre lengths and seat tube angles vary with frame sizes, which helps riders of different heights achieve a more optimal weight balance and riding position. It's been 10 years since Pole cruised onto the strip with its stretched limo EvoLink. To celebrate this milestone, it has refined its range to consist of 6 customisable models, all about as striking as you'd expect from the Finnish brand. Alongside motor-assisted options, the Vikkelä mixes the travel and attitude of a downhill bike with the climbing position and go-anywhere versatility of an enduro bike. Pole calls it Down-Duro, because mountain biking really needs another subcategory. Like one of those stir-fry restaurants where you get to choose your own ingredients, the Vikkelä can be anything you want it to be. Select 29-inch wheels front and rear or go MX. Run a dual crown fork up front for ultimate swagger and match it with 190mm of rear travel. Or go for a single crown and 168mm of rear travel. The choice is yours. What doesn't change is the head-turning CNC-machined aluminium frame, radical elevated chainstays and blinging anodised finish. Continuing Commencal's long lineage of desirable trail bikes is this, the 5th iteration of the Meta. It's still made from alloy just like the original, even if Commencal did briefly flirt with carbon in the late 2000s, but the new bike uses the virtual contact suspension system. This employs short, counter-rotating links rather than the old single pivot design and delivers a generous 165mm of travel. With a low standover height, short steep seat tubes, 2 chainstay lengths depending on the frame size and mixed wheels, the new Meta SX looks seriously shreddable. Is that even a word? With over 30 gold medals under its belt, one would think Trek's Supercaliber had found the ultimate recipe for XC success. But in order to stay ahead in a sport with an insatiable need for speed, Trek has teased out sufficient improvements in the original design to come up with an even better Supercaliber. And somehow it has resisted naming it either the Ultracaliber or the Hypercaliber. But while the name remains, the frame gains, now boasting an extra 20mm of travel at the rear for those gnarlier World Cup courses. There's a new ISO strut shock too, from RockShox this time, giving Trek racers the ability to run the new electronic flight attendant system. Coupled with more travel, the reach has been lengthened and the head angles slackened to make a more capable handling rig. And the weight for the top-end SLR 9.9 XX axis? Just 9.3 kilos according to Trek. In the tradition of all good game shows, here's what we could have won if we'd stayed in the EU. Yes, Rose is one of the brands that has ceased to ship bikes to the UK post-Brexit, which means us Brits will have to travel to Europe to get our mitts on one of these rad new scrub freeride bikes. Fortunately, Rose has stores all over Germany and a few in Switzerland, so you can click and collect, then head to one of a litany of nearby bike parks to get it bedded in. The alloy frame is built tough enough to take either dual crown or single crown forks, and it runs a mixed wheel setup. Choose between coil or air shocks to deliver 200mm of rear wheel travel, and there's a progressive spring curve suitable for sending huge moto jump lines. While the Scrub's 7-speed drivetrain and fixed seat post makes it a shuttle only option, at just €3,299 for the entry level model, you should have cash left over for a few lift passes. Looking for something boutique that's not a Yeti, a Santa Cruz or a Pivot? Well, how about the new Ibis HD6, an enduro bike from a brand with over 40 years of history in the sport. The mixed wheel HD6 gets 165mm of rear wheel travel using a DW Link suspension design. It's compatible with coil and air shocks and comes in a generous 5 frame sizes. And in a nod to the original steel Ibis frames, you can choose your HD6 in one of 3 colourful paint options. The budget hardtail market has taken a battering recently thanks to inflation, so it's always exciting when a new affordable option drops. This one is from Merida and it's an aluminium 29er with a 120mm fork. The full Big.Nine range includes racy XC options with 100mm forks and carbon frames stretching to price points at a heady 10k, but it's the down-to-earth TR models that really float our boat. Longer forks matched with slacker head angles bring sure-footed handling, while all models come standard with a dropper post. The frame includes a tool mount and 2 sets of bottle cage bosses, a SRAM UDH mech hanger and a nice low standover height for maximum confidence. At the other end of the travel spectrum, Merida has also launched a new version of the One-Sixty. It's called the One-Sixty FR, and as the name suggests, it's primarily designed for bike park laps. As such, it gets 180mm travel up front and 160mm of coil sprung plushness out back, giving the FR more of a bias to durability and heavy hitting suspension performance over pedal efficiency and weight saving. Reinforcing that theme is the all alloy frame, even down to the radical alloy flex stays. That keeps the price keen, with the top of the range model coming in at a realistic 3.5k. But at 17.2 kilos, you're going to develop some serious guns getting it on and off the uplift trailer. No self-respecting hottest bikes rundown would be complete without touching on the new Trek Slash. This seminal enduro bike is transformed for 2024 with a move to a high pivot idler design and mullet wheels. To help improve pedal efficiency and reduce drag, the new Slash comes with a larger idler wheel, and in a nod to practicality, Trek has incorporated internal down tube storage for all your trail essentials. With 170mm travel, 5 frame sizes and 7 models with frames in both alloy and carbon, the new Slash is more than just making up the numbers. Symmetry has been shunned once again in the design of the new Orbea Occam. The Spanish brand's trail bike offering still gets an offset frame reinforcement that gives left-handed people a distinct advantage when it comes to staying hydrated. To maximise the bike's appeal, you can choose between LT and SL options. The SL gets 140mm travel front and rear, while the long travel model gains 20mm up front and 10mm at the back along with slacker angles. Adjusting the geometry is quick and simple thanks to an eccentric flip chip, and there are clever integrated tools and down tube storage to help you ride pack free. It's a handsome looking steed and one that you can really make your own using Orbea's MYO customization program. On the subject of Spanish brands, we also need to shine a spotlight on the new Mondraker F Podium. We are big fans of the old bike as it was one of the first race bikes that really punched above its weight on rowdy trails. But the new version looks even spicier with a revised frame layout, updated zero suspension system, wafer thin top tube, slacker head angle and 10mm extra travel out back. So that's our rundown of the hottest new bikes for 2024. Thanks for watching and let us know in the comments which bike you're most excited about.